Biolab discovered in a Las Vegas home has raised concerns about Chinese activities inside this country. Joining us now to talk about this, our top story is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. He's on the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, thanks for being here. Fox 11 out in Las Vegas says this biolab, here's some of the questions they answer. The investigation centers on Ori Solomon, an Israeli citizen property manager who allegedly manages approximately 37 short-term rentals. Investigators are examining Solomon's extensive relationship with property owners Jia Bei Zhu, also known as David He, and Wang Zhaoyan. Zhu, currently in a California prison, allegedly made 6,945 calls, including 467 to Solomon. We're tying this all together, but what do we know about this, and how extensive could this be?
Well, what we don't know, Brett, I think is the most important, which is we don't know if this property owner, who is a Chinese national, what the extent of his ties are to the Chinese government. And I think we better find out really quick. And here's why I say that. This is now at least the second property that this owner has that has turned out to have biolab materials in it, and not just any pathogens. We're talking about COVID-19. That was in the previous property. That's why he's in jail, because in 2023, this Chinese national ran a biolab in another home. Now it turns out he's got this one in Vegas. Where might he own property? Who is he in contact with in China? I don't like the sound of this at all, Brett. I think we need to figure out if this is some sort of a ring, and we need to know if there's CCP involvement at any level.
Yeah, and this is 3 years after the first one in California. I asked the FBI director about this last night. Take a listen. If that Chinese national has been behind bars for the past 3 years, how is it just now authorities are raiding this Las Vegas house?
Well, I think that's a great question. What this FBI did was went back and looked at a report that my predecessor went to Capitol Hill and said there's no connection to China. I found that unbelievable or implausible. So that is a state-run investigation right now in the state of Nevada.
It seems so much more urgent with what's listed there. If you look back at the House China Select Committee's investigation into the California, the Reedley biolab contained thousands of samples of potential pathogens, contained freezer-labeled Ebola, a select agent with 25 to 90% lethality rate, contained nearly 1,000 transgenic mice designed to carry COVID-19 virus. We've got reports out of Las Vegas that people have been really sick, that there were dead crickets in the house. I mean, this is serious stuff.
It's very serious. I would say the situation is very urgent, Brett, and I think we need to get answers really soon. And I come back to the fact we need to know if there are ties to mainland China, to the CCP. We need to know if there are other homes, and I understand that this Chinese national who's now in prison owned a whole network of homes. I assume that authorities are looking into that. And I also think this raises the larger issue. We've got to remember, Brett, that the Chinese government's not our friend. I mean, this is a pattern that we've seen where the Chinese government has tried to use Chinese nationals. We don't know if this is true in this case, but we know it's true in other cases on our university campuses, for example, to try to get access to top research. They've stood up institutes like the Confucius Institutes on our campuses that the Chinese government has directly funded to try to get access. This is a pattern that we've seen. We need to be mindful of this, and we need to be on guard against CCP efforts to infiltrate and influence us here at home.
How much do you think China is trying to do inside the U.S.? You're on the Homeland Security Committee. Obviously, we've dealt with the precursor chemicals that go through Mexico, through the cartels, fentanyl coming in. That's a major threat that the president and his administration have been dealing with. But what about other efforts inside the U.S. by China?
Oh, I think that there's a lot. And we know of some of them. I just mentioned a few of them where they've deliberately, the Chinese government, tried to place nationals into sensitive research projects, into sensitive positions at our universities, into sensitive laboratories. They've tried to stand up front groups, essentially, like the Confucius Institutes, that appear to be about education. In fact, they're about trying to corral Chinese students, make sure those students stay in line, surveil them, and then ultimately try to use them to collect intelligence. Brett, they've been at this a long time, and I think we just have to remember they are not our friends. They are not an ally to us. They are a serious competitor. In many ways, they act as an enemy, and we need to be on our guard on all fronts. And certainly when it comes to these biomaterials, we got to figure out where this guy got this stuff, and we need to figure out if he's running these biolabs in other places.